Do furries belong here? This is footage of furries marching in various pride parades in full suit, often in the scorching summer sun, flaunting their costumes in public, representing furries at a celebration of LGBTQ rights. So what are we doing here? Is this overtly sexualizing a fandom that already has public image issues? What about gamers? LGBTQ cosplayers, or other activities not directly related to LGBTQ issues? Indeed, they are important aspects of the community, groups building community, networking, and supporting each other. For those who think that Pride should be reserved solely for celebrating same-sex marriage and equality, consider that allies are an important part, like the police, firefighters, corporations large and small, and other institutions that aren't necessarily queer, but showing support. The Pride Parade was started as political protest for gay rights and turned into the celebratory festival we recognize today. Pride is also a venue for expressing art forms by queer artists in the form of music, visual art, performance, and like any good parade, costumes. All that being said, it seems almost stranger that you wouldn't see furries at a Pride Parade. 1/3 of the fandom is heterosexual. Is it not a good thing for them to be included with queerness or otherness? We furries are already accepted within the LGBTQ community to a large extent, which is at least partly due to our own gender and sexual diversity. For us, this raises another important question. Should you come out as a furry? Furry is an important part of many people's identity. In fact, the persona acts as an identity builder for furries and has been attributed to lower anxiety rates in the fandom among other mental health bonuses. Find the link in the description. Whether or not you should is entirely up to you and your unique situation. If furry is solely a sexual fetish for you, then it's probably best not to share with your family and friends. However, if you're like me, it's a far-reaching hobby that encompasses comics, film, fursuiting, community, YouTube, then it might do the fandom a favor for you to be comfortable with this hobby. Taking a page from the LGBTQ civil rights movement, the more people know furries in person, the less likely they are to hold negative stereotypes against them. So if gay people come out of the closet, should furries come out of the kennel? It's common for people with a passing awareness of furry to be disturbed by the sexual nature of it all. Some members of sci-fi and related fandoms find the sexual component to be repugnant, and this attitude leaked in some of the furry media coverage around the turn of the century. People react strongly to the sexual component of furry because we are blurring the species boundary. The idea of a Thundercats erotic fanfiction garners much of the same reaction from anti-furries as the idea of a Bert and Ernie love-in from homophobes. Now consider a male NBA player like Jason Collins who comes out as gay. He'll be big news. Whereas a lesbian WNBA player will be met with yawns. Each player is meeting prejudice when he, she, they challenges the gender stereotype. The man when it's revealed that he's gay, the woman when it's revealed that she plays basketball. Sexism is at the heart of much of the prejudice, homophobia, and transphobia. Challenging traditional gender boundaries is taboo. Furries cross the species barrier as well. We diverge from the traditional species paradigm. Some furries even go as far to think of themselves as a hybrid of human and non-human, as animal people. All furries do our best to bring those animal people into the real world with our art and fursuits, with the way we interact, and with our sexuality. Furry isn't about sex, but sexuality can be a big part of identity, and so sex plays an important part in the furry experience. Furry is not LGBTQ, it isn't a sexual orientation or a gender identity either, but it is a discriminated otherness. LGBTQ and all the way to Z people are bound by the fact they deviate from the norm in terms of gender and sexuality. To add furries is to stretch these boundaries and would arguably dilute the value of what it means to be queer. We're all different, but we suffer from the same source of discrimination. We all cross, in one way or another, a societal boundary that is arbitrarily taboo. The Pride Parade offers a public, but by all accounts a celebratory outlet for otherness. Furry is about identity more than it is about sex, though there is an undeniable connection between sex and fur. Pride is about celebrating and embracing our identity. Furry isn't necessarily queer, but maybe should be celebrated with and alongside queer. Having 70% queer population, furry and queer have a lot of similarities beyond a cultural otherness. People use the Pride Festival not only to celebrate same-sex equality, but now they include other othernesses like kinky people and activities that are all equally labeled deviations from cultural norms, even if represented by our heterosexual allies. Nowadays, furries are regular and long-time participants in gay pride events from San Francisco, USA to Sydney, Australia, and elsewhere around the world. Our representation at these events should not be only those of us who are LGBTQ. We should participate because we want to publicly express and celebrate our queerness, our furry identity, regardless of gender identity or sexual orientation.
Hey viewers, this week on a special Culturally Effed, I'm going to be joined by some friends as we get ready for Howl Fierceness, presented by the monthly furry dance party Howl Toronto on July 11th, 2015. Not conforming to neither gender nor species roles is Culturally Effed.
Miss Farah Duquesne.
We're born naked, as they say, and the rest is fur. Furries and drag have a lot in common. Firstly, we're all gorgeous.
And most of all, whenever possible, tell us we look gorgeous. Tell us we look gorgeous.
The makeup, the hair, and the attitude are just a different way to express one's original character. Like the way someone designs a persona, drag queens create an entire new persona with themselves as the basis of inspiration. Aspiring to be bigger, better, and more fabulous. We all don the brightest colors and flourishes we can find and completely personalize our looks. We boldly go for the outrageous and the shocking. Drag is, of course, a performance beyond just cross-dressing. A drag queen conquers a stage and lip syncs and makes a parody of the old gender dichotomy. A proper gender fuck. Fursuiting is a performance too, but a little more improv and impromptu. They can be fierce and frightening and adorable and charismatic. They can make us laugh or shock us with incredible feats of dancing or acrobatics. In the end, all we want to do is put a smile on a stranger's face. You go through a similar mental preparation when you put on a wig as you would put on a fursuit head. Getting ready to be bouncy and full of enthusiasm and attitude and dishing out hug after hug to friends and strangers alike. Drag does take a little bit more effort in preparing a unique look for public appearance, putting on all the makeup and preparing a wig instead of just throwing a mascot head on. It changes your identity and makes you anonymous in a world where everyone knows everything about everyone. The fursona makes you different online, the fursuit makes you different in person, and drag makes you different on stage. We cover up what we don't want to see, and we magnify the best parts about us. We share the anonymity of our masks.
Be kind to your entertainers. If you see a flaw, squint. If you see a bulge, don't be mad.
People are always telling me how brave I must be for going out in public in drag. It shouldn't be a shame to go out in drag or in a fursuit. It shouldn't be shameful to wear women's clothing because it is not shameful to be a woman. All I look for is to have a good time and a good company. If that's bouncing around with some fluffy people or stomping around in heels. So you think you can love me and leave me to die? Oh, baby! What do you guys think? Is fursuiting like drag, or did I completely miss the mark? Let me know in the comments. Thank you to all of our subscribers. If you guys like what we do here, please share it with a friend. It would really be awesome of you. If you haven't yet subscribed to Culturally Effed, please press the big red subscribe button down below, and thank you for watching. Hey, RK here. 17th century naturalist Carl Linnaeus devised the modern taxonomy system we use today. It's a comprehensive system that can tell us the difference between a wolf and a dog. Appropriating this system left people to make rigid classifications based on the smallest of differences. a tool that all of science would ultimately use to classify all life on Earth. Humans love to categorize things. We like clear definitions. If something doesn't fit perfectly into a box or a category, we sometimes treat it as an other, different, or maybe realize that it needs an entire new category. It's part of why we make stereotypes. So we have a preconceived notions of simple, predictable behaviors. In this edition of Culturally Effed After Dark, we look at the animal kingdom of the gay community and the animal-based stereotypes of the furry fandom. Anyone who's been part of the gay community, or maybe just a friend of, usually has some knowledge of the gay bestiary. Bears, cubs, and otters, and so on. This oral tradition textbook would outline not only body types, but associated behavior. The classification system mostly covers only gay men, with only occasional mentions of other genders and sexualities. The first attempt at classifying gay men, in print, into animal people was made by The Advocate in 1979. A glossary of gay animals, a who's who in the zoo, which is the early mention of the term bear to describe a larger, hairy gay man that we could find. Characteristically, bears are seen as more masculine, have beards, and usually resemble a bear-like frame, hence the name. However, there are several subtypes of bear, like black bear, muscle bear, panda bear, polar bear, koala bear, grizzly bear, pocket bear, nared bear, cub, and more. These different subtypes often express something singular. For instance, a muscle bear is a bear with a lot of muscle mass, or a grizzly being very tall or very large. The nared bear is one who shaves themselves, a pocket bear is very short. A Wookiee refers to a nerdy bear. A teddy bear is a bear with hair all over. In nature, bears are sociable, good-natured, and make great companions. Most often they can be seen drinking whiskey or beer, often in the presence of other bears. There's also otters. An otter is tall, hairy, and thin. They usually do not have an age range, unlike a bear and a cub. A version of a hairless otter, not to be confused with a twink, who is usually skinny and well-shaved and young, would be a mink. An otter is also seen as a subtype of bear culture, except having flatter features. Other terms can be seen as slicing hairs, in particular athletics, hair color, and attitudes. For instance, a wolf would be semi-hairy, they are lean, muscular, and sexually aggressive, have facial hair, they can be of any age, although like bears, they might have a color that signifies them as gray or white wolves. You might know a similar distinction between a fox or a silver fox, with a thinner frame and jawline and a slender physique. Younger versions of these two might incorporate pups, which might look like younger versions of wolves or foxes who might be naive to the gay world. These slang are also different region to region. A British twink might be referred to as a fox or a chicken. In North America, a feminine youth would be a boigle. A chicken might also refer to someone who's under the legal age of consent, and their predators, chicken hawks. Now we move on to the fit world of gym memberships and overpriced powders that get animal people super jacked. A muscle fur version of a fox or a wolf might be classified as a muscle pup. Other variants found in the pumping iron zoo is the gym bunny. Those who are younger, jockish, muscular males with low body fat who are less interested in exercising so much as they are watching the leaner gym members work out. In the bigger world of bodybuilding, insert the gym rat. They are very built and extremely focused on getting bigger and spend a lot of hours at the gym. Finally, the largest of all bodybuilding animals is the bull, the enormous physique of stature who has a ridiculous amount of power. Think the traditional bodybuilder. Although gay body types are mostly restricted towards males, there are other terms such as Ursulas, which are the curvier females that might be described as female bears. Also, females who hang around several bears are known as Goldilocks. In the older generation of LGBT culture, there is a much broader connection to gay types opposed to male-dominated animal slang. There's a whole list of gay animals that were never used or just seemed to pass with time, such as owls, who are older birds in the community who were present before the time that homosexuality was mostly accepted. Cygnant swans, who are charming with perfect bodies, perfect clothes, who come off as a little snobbish. Gazelles, who are the good-hearted twink types who are open and honest about their sexual history. Or marmosets, who are elegant, beautiful, and one-sided. It's easy to find online quizzes that will guess and classify you in the gay male animal system. Let's see which one Rusty gets. Okay, so we're gonna find out what animal I am. Let's see here. Age. 6. Height. I'm like, should I count my ears or no?
Your ears are kind of variable.
Let's put it 7 feet. Weight. Yes. Waist. None of your business. Body hair. I guess extremely hairy?
You are extremely hairy.
Define me. I am an otter. There we go. I'm an otter. I don't even see a rabbit on here. Oh, there's a gym bunny.
How close are you to a gym bunny?
6% more muscular.
You got some work to do.
Well, there you have it. Rusty Rabbit is an otter. The labeling of gay body types has been around for a long time, dating back as far at least as the 1960s. But people have always used animal allegory to describe members of their community, like a group of gossipy old women being a clutch of hens, or the guy on the Canadian $5 bill, Sir Wilfrid Laurier, was the silver fox, and that was before World War I. A more modern and online animal classifications have evolved out of, you guessed it, the furry fandom. Foxes are stereotyped as being particularly slutty bottoms, vixens often being played by male users, wolves as being alpha males seeking leadership, horses as size queens, red pandas are attention whores.
What are you so mad about, Rusty?
Well, according to Wikifur, rabbits are known for being paranoid, promiscuous, and enjoy being the victims of war. Well, I'll have you know that 60% of my blood is a neurotoxin, so you'll experience crazy hallucinations if you eat me, and then you'll die.
That doesn't sound very good at all.
No. Rabbits belong on the streets, not in a stomach. They'll have you believe vor is natural, that it's all part of the order. Or something.
Like it's some sort of food chain.
Yeah.
Survival.
It's all a conspiracy. They, them, they're coming. Raccoons are kleptomaniacs. Squirrels are hyperactive. Hyenas are insane. Dragons prefer the company of virgins, and scalies in general have a variety of kinks. And of course, as we all probably know, huskies are the new foxes. Let us know down in the comments if any of these stereotypes or labels apply to you, or how they don't. In my experience, foxes are less slutty and generally come off as more grumpy, and dogs just enjoy playing dumb. Also, what about the animals we didn't mention? Is there gay slang we missed, or a furry stereotype left unaddressed? Let's talk about it. I can't help but notice that there are very few bird stereotypes. As a red-winged blackbird, I feel like I have a tough, angry exterior, but I keep my friends and family very close. Even when using these terms that we have applied to ourselves and to others, the labeling of ourselves should come with agency over what we think we are. It's very important for us to acknowledge that while making these categories and stereotypes is fun, it can also be damaging when someone is on the receiving end. Stereotyping and labeling in this way can be used as a form of prejudice that we should avoid and be aware of, and not accept the blanket terms given to us. Most everybody can't be categorized into a convenient box or a singular label, so we should make sure these judgments based on the individual and our own experience. With animals, furries, and humans, we always look for it deeper than what we see at first glance, though I'm pretty sure all foxes are up to something suspicious. I've been your host, Darkeye. Thanks for watching this week's Culturally Eft After Dark. Underbite, could you give me a hand? Ah, my lucky human hand. It came off of one of these fluffy people. Culturally Eft this week was supported by people on Patreon who gave us money for doing internet stuff. If you like what we do, share, like, subscribe, and I won't take your hand.